Hello, everybody, and welcome to I Am Not Okay with Day. I am your host, Day. And you guys, it's season 2. If you guys have been here with me since season 1, you know I love to sing song my words. Okay. We are here for season 2, y'all, and I am so excited. This season, I have a lot of really fun, hopefully amazing things planned. I really just want to grow the podcast and grow our community. So I am very excited. And in this first episode, I'm really just going to give you guys an update on everything that's happening and kind of where I am right now. And of course, talk about the big elephant in the room. Which, again, if you guys have been following me since the beginning, you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's jump right in. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, my name is Day, and I'm a social worker. And most importantly, I'm just a human trying to figure things out. Okay, trying to figure out this thing called life. And I created this whole podcast because I really want to, first of all, help myself deal with my things, my issues, and hopefully, while trying to figure it out, help some of you guys figure out your own stuff. So, as typical that we do on the podcast in every episode, we do our some type of way segment. And that's pretty much where we talk about things that made me feel some type of way that happened recently. So, we're going to jump right in. So, the thing that I'm going to share with you guys that made me feel some type of way this past week was, y'all, I went to do my exam, as most of you guys know. So, as I said, I'm a social worker and I went to do my license master social worker exam for the state that I'm living in. And so, I went to do that last week, y'all. And when I went to the building, first of all, I couldn't find the building. It was so confusing. I finally found a building that I thought was it. And so you have the building's locked. So you have to like call the people and get them to let you in. So I called the people, right? And this lady comes on and she's like, "Sir, you can't come in the building with somebody else." Because at this time, my mom, she came with me. And so because we weren't sure where the building was, she was coming with me to make sure, okay, this is the building. Like, this is where you need to go before she left. And so the person was like, "Sir, you can't bring anybody in." And I was just like, I laughed and I hesitated for a second because I'm like, should I correct this person? And I didn't. And then as I laughed and hesitated, I think she realized and then she was proceeded to continue talking to me. She didn't fix it, but she proceeded to talk to me. And she asked me my name. I told her. And so I guess when she hears my name, she's like, "Oh, okay. Y'all, this lady thought I was a whole entire man." Okay, like I know that I cut my hair and everything, but does my voice really be sounding that deep where I sound like a whole entire man? Like, and do I really look like a boy just from this angle? Y'all tell me. Goodness. I mean, okay, I know I'm done up right now, but obviously on that day I wasn't wearing makeup, so I don't know, y'all. Do I look like a man? Like, was I offended low key? Like, this lady fully called me a man. Though it was kind of funny and it was a very good icebreaker for me to just release the tension because y'all already know I was freaking out. I was so nervous. Anyways, I went in, whatever, did the test, everything like that. And that brings me into the major update, which if you haven't been following me on social media, then you won't know. But I passed my exam. I passed the exam, you guys, and I cannot tell you how relieved I am, first of all, and how happy I am. You guys, y'all know last year, this past couple months, it's been rough. And honestly, I do feel like I've been functioning with half a brain. And I shouldn't have passed this test because the way that I've barely been able to just like really focus, it shouldn't be possible. But God, y'all. But God, He was able to work things out, bring me through, and here we are. Here we are. And I got emotional. So I'm in the test, right? It's a 4-hour test. And you go in. It's like top security, first of all, because you have to do palm scans. You got to give their ID. You got to put your phone. You got to turn your phone off and put this like special thing and put all of your items in a locker. And then when you go in, I wear glasses. You got to put the glasses on this spinner thing to make sure that you're not like cheating. And then you go in, and the people are literally watching you during the entirety of the test. And I mean, if you're not nervous already, like, even though there's literally no way to cheat on this test, you're still nervous. And again, just in general, I felt like this is like the make or break moment. Like, leading up to it, I didn't want to psych myself up and feel like, okay, if we fail, like the world is ending. I really, really tried to change my mindset. But, in the back of your head, there's still a part of you that's like, I don't want to fail this test. I don't want to fail this test. And so I'm in there. I'm on question 170, the last question. And my heart's just like this, beating so fast. It's going so fast. And I look at the screen and it says, okay, continue. And then the page comes up and it's like, are you sure you want to continue? Because once you press continue, you can't go back. And like, this is it. And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it. Are we ready? Like, are you ready to press that continue? And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But I sit there, I second guess myself a little bit, and I'm like, maybe I should go back and look at the questions. But the way the test is set up, you can't go back and look at like all the questions there. It's just individual questions. And so I did. I went back to question 1, and let me tell you, I started reading question 1. I was like, you know what? No. We're not going to reread all these questions to make sure we got the question right, because I feel like that's going to get me to second guess myself. So I went back to question 170 and I said, we're doing this. And let me tell you, as I said, my heart is pounding, and I go and press the continue button. Yo, my heart was outside of my chest at this point. When I went to the next page, it actually was not like a big congratulations, you passed, like blinking sign. It wasn't that. It was just a couple different like sentences, and then this is your pass, this is the grade that you got. And it didn't even say, did I say pass? Because it said this is the grade you need and this is your grade, congratulations, you passed. And I was like, thank you, God. I sat there, you guys, and I cried. Tears just filled my eyes. It was so emotional. And I stared at the screen for a good 5 minutes like, is this even real? Like, did this actually happen? And yes, it did. It really did happen. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. You guys know that it's just been such a tough journey, For those of you who don't know, I got divorced a year ago, essentially. Not a full year ago. It hasn't even been a whole year yet, but a couple months ago. And that really just blew up my entire world. And so my whole everything shifted. My whole entire life just changed. All the plans that I had for myself, all the things that I was working on, everything just changed. And I just feel like I was just lost. And so now I moved back into the house with my parents, and I'm like trying to now figure out, okay, where am I going to go from here? And how can I still achieve my goals? And I was still working on that while also dealing with just the mental health of it all and how all this stuff has just been affecting me. And you guys, I've literally been functioning on half a brain because there have been many days after I decided, okay, like I want to study for this test. There have been so many days, y'all know, when I set myself up to study and then I would wake up and just feel depressed and have no energy or anything to do it. And it was just so many times when I questioned, am I ever going to be able to meet my goal? Like, am I ever going to even be able to do what I really want to do? Because who I am right now is just so different from who I was. And the circumstances are so different. There's just so many things that I just don't know. And so it was really, really hard. And I doubted myself so much. Just from that relationship, there was always it did a lot to me. And a big part of what it did was really affect my self esteem. And so I just really struggled a lot with like, can I even do this? Do I even know anything at all? And I would study and I would read the questions and I'd be like, I don't know anything. I'd get everything wrong. And it was really just a rough couple months in a lot of ways. And I don't know how I passed it. I just don't know. I mean, I know it was God. I know God is the reason why I passed it. But I'm just so filled with gratitude and with just joy and victory. After I passed, me and my mom, we went out and celebrated. And honestly, I've been on a high since then. I just feel like it was worth it, you know? And I feel like I'm able to do this. I think that it's kind of like an affirmation for me like, okay, here I am now starting my life over literally on my own, because I was in that marriage, I was in that relationship my entire adult life. So there definitely is like, can I even do this by myself? Can I live by myself? Can I take care of myself? Can I figure this out? And I think this was really just the confirmation and affirmation that I needed to be like, yes, you can do this. You can take care of yourself. You can achieve your goals. You don't have to stay down here just because that marriage ended. And it really did something to my self-esteem. I think it really helped me because you know what? You know what's funny? Even as I talk about this, I just remember this. I remember telling my friend that if I ever end my relationship, like this is like years ago, like not when anything was even a thing. This was just like dating. We weren't even married yet. And I was like, if my relationship ever ends, I'm just going to have to deactivate my Facebook and just deactivate all my social media and just hide under a rock because, if y'all know me and y'all knew us, he was all over the social media. Like he was everything. And this marriage, we showcased it just like so much. It was everything. I was just so caught up in this relationship. My identity became this relationship. We're going to get into all of that coming up. But there's so much of me that was just lost in that. And my identity was so filled in that like, I really thought, even in the dating time, that if that ends, like, who am I going to be? What am I going to be? And that was just dating. And fast forward, we were married for 4.5 years, and it's just like, that did end. And here I am, still existing, still meeting my goals, still able to be the person that I always wanted to be. And actually, I feel like I am in the best place I've ever been emotionally and mentally. Not that I'm in a good place. That's not what I mean. But I feel like I'm in a place where I'm able to fully be authentic to who I am and to fully work on myself without having anybody like pushing me down or, preventing me from being great. Let's just call it that, okay? And it's amazing, to be able to fully focus on yourself is a gift, and to be able to not have to worry about what someone else is going to think or think about somebody else's needs before your own. And then to know that you can do that. Because again, when your identity is so wrapped up in another person, it's just really hard. And so it really gave me the push I needed. And now I feel like we got this. I mean, y'all already know. I know this too. As I say this, I already know there are going to be days when I will continue to doubt myself and when I'm going to feel like, man, I don't know. Because actually, literally, in thinking about expanding the podcast, I've thought about doing this on video, doing video podcast. And I this might be it, you guys. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to say that yet. I'm a little scared to say that because I don't want expectations to go up and then I'm disappointing them. But this is for me. And I need to do this for me because I want to do this. And so I'm going to say it. I want to do video podcasts and I am recording this right now. With video. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, then that means I did it. That means I figured it out. And that means that here we are on the YouTube. Okay. But in thinking about expanding the podcast and doing YouTube, doing video podcasts, I was doubting myself again too. And I was like, ugh, I don't know. Do I even have a personality that's going to be carried through video? Like, are people going to want to hear this? Completely forgetting that I've put out the actual podcast, audio podcast, and people have been listening to it and people are resonating with it. But you know how it is, you guys, like when you get into that space of self-doubt, sometimes the logic is out the window and all you're thinking about is just all the negative and all the ways that the worst is going to come true. And I really did go down that rabbit hole and I had to have my best friend, shout out to Lisa, she's a real one, who just checked me. In fact, actually, when I said this, like when I was explaining to her how doubtful I was feeling about things, she literally gave me a look like, girl, bye. How do you think this? Like, I know this is a joke. And that was all I needed to really feel like, okay, you're right. I've been doing this. You're right. So I don't know if it's going to be up yet. Oh, we'll see. It's going to take me some time to really figure out how to actually do this because I am doing this by myself. So I don't know, but even if it's not this episode that is on the YouTube, I really want to make that a goal for myself. And so I'm going to figure it out and work as hard as I can until I get it right. So there we go. But the point of all of this is I still have doubts. I still struggle, but I think passing this exam really just made me feel like, okay, we can do this and we can continue to do other hard things that are going to come up. And I mean, that's just kind of like the next part of what I'm dealing with now, which is, okay, now I'm in a space of transition, like actual, because I've done the test, I passed it, I got the physical license, paper and the card and everything. Like, we're official, y'all. We're official. Okay. So now it's like, okay, so now what? Like, what do we do? What are we going to do? Because now it's go time. Reality's hitting. I need to find a job and I really need to think about not only where I want to go professionally, but where I want to go personally and how do I want to set my life up? Where do I want to settle down? Where do I want to be and what do I need to do to get there? And it's a really scary place to be, you guys, because I think in these past couple of months, like I knew I was studying for the test and stuff, but I also knew I had a time frame. And so even though as I'm going through it, like I'm not worrying too much about, okay, what's going to happen after, because I already have my time frame and my main concern is just, okay, the test. We need to get through that first. But now I'm like freaking out a little bit because there's a lot of pressure. And honestly, who's putting on the pressure? Me. I'm putting it on myself to just like figure things out and do things right. And I think, it's kind of hard because, again, I'm now in a place where I don't have to think about a husband and what he wants. And I don't have to really consider anybody else but myself, I want to consider my parents because I'm here now. Being here with them these past couple months makes me realize that I want to be close to them. But at the same time, like I don't have to, like it's not gonna really make or break anything. Um, like if I think about them or not. And so like really this is my first time having to think about only me. And it's like from here on out, whatever happens is gonna be on me a little bit. And I guess I don't know if that's the thing that's putting pressure on me. Like, okay, like you really have to figure this out. And I think that's something I'm gonna have to work on because I need to be able to adapt to when things are changing. I actually talked about this with my therapist this week about being able to adapt to change and be okay with whatever happens. And I think, what I was explaining to her is my life has been so much change that I'm tired of change. Like I'm so frustrated with constantly having to adapt because when I was married, I moved. I mean, I moved when I was a kid a lot because, my dad and his school, and then, his job, and they want a better life for me and stuff like that, which was great. But I moved around a lot. And then as an adult, I moved around because my husband needed to go here for work and school. And so it's like, there's been so much of my life lived so many changes because of somebody else and not because of me and things that I want. Like, this is actually the first time that I'm really here making a change, doing something completely different and on my own just for me. And so it's huge. I mean, I kind of did that when I did my master's because I was by myself and doing that. But it also was with the goal of like, I'm doing this, but I was engaged at the time. So the goal is to obviously reunite with my husband who I'm going to marry after I graduate and stuff like that. And so it's just like, so many of my decisions, so many of the things that I've done have always been because of somebody else. And so there is a lot of, it's just scary to really be the one to make the decision. I guess I'm holding a lot of weight on now what I'm going to do. And honestly, what I've realized just again in my study and talking to my friends and family is that this is really my time to allow God to guide me and to show me where he wants to go and really do what it is he wants me to do because I mean, I don't know if it was God's plan, all the things that happened in the past, but God has really worked things out for me. I did have to move and go all these places, but I was able to get a job, get multiple jobs in different places, and really start to grow myself professionally. And I'm very grateful for that. But also, it's like, I don't know if that was something that I was really like seeking out. Whereas now I'm actively seeking to follow whatever God wants for me. And I think it's scary because it's very much the unknown. And it's me just kind of like, I still don't know how to really do it. And I'm still trying to figure this out, how to trusting what God wants while also being open to the opportunities and making sure that I'm not like limiting myself to certain things while also being realistic with the situation. And the reality is that there is a very, 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 very high chance that I will have to work a job. Whatever job I do next is going to probably be something that's not my final destination. But it's going to be, again, another thing that I'll have to do to get to my final destination. And that thing that I might have to do is probably going to be really challenging. And that's hard because like challenges sound real good when you're on the other side and when you're like, yeah, I'm a better person because I went through this. But as you're going through it, it is hard and it's not fun. So there's definitely an element of like fear and anxiety of what is to come really because I think another thing with letting God lead is that there's a possibility that he might lead you to something that's going to refine you. And that refining isn't fun ever. So I'm a little bit afraid, but I'm also, I've been doing a women's study in my personal devotions, just looking at different women in the Bible and really trying to learn whatever I can from these women, whether good or bad. And one thing that comes up in every single story that I've read thus far and studied is trust and faith. And actually, when I was talking to my friend about the concerns that I have and the just worries, she was telling me that a big part of our issues is that, we say we trust God, but do we really trust God? Because when it comes down to it, when we really have to surrender, are we actually able to do that? And the answer for me so far has honestly been no, because when it really comes down to doing something that I don't want to do, but will ultimately help me, my choice is a no for me. But that doesn't always lead to the path that you need to go, And so am I going to be willingly able to fully surrender? And I think that the word surrender is really has been really in my mind lately. And actually this is just going to lead right into our What God Has Taught Me segment, because they all kind of go in together. But I'm thinking a lot about what that means. And actually, I put it up here. I was looking into the definitions. I like to do that when I'm doing research on things. And here, the term surrender, there's a couple different definitions, but it says here to yield to the possession or power of another, deliver up possession of on demand or under duress, to give oneself up, to give oneself up to an influence, an emotion, a course, whatever. And, I think that's really the thing. I think about surrender as giving oneself up. And that means giving up my personal plans and what I think is going to be the best for me, and giving up just the how can we say this? Just giving up what I think I know and saying, God, I have this here, but ultimately, and I want to do what you want me to do, but ultimately, I want you to lead. And so if it's this great plan that I have, amazing, ideal, please let it be that. But if that's not what it is, it's okay. I'm okay, and I want to go with you and follow you and do whatever it is that you say you want me to do, because if that's going to be something that makes me better and something that helps people along the way, that's what I want to do. So I want to do that. I really want to surrender all of me to surrender my emotions, like it was saying, my surrender to all of the things, all my emotions, my course. When it says course, it's kind of like the course that I was going on, whatever it is that you have planned. Because you know what? Here's the truth. I had all these plans for my life, and guess where all those plans are? In the dumpster, because none of them came true. I mean, the license came true, thank God. But if it was up to me, y'all, I would be pregnant right now, okay? And I would be living in a house, the same house that I bought, my very first house with my husband. I would be working toward having a much better job and, living my best life. That's where I would be if it were my personal plan. But, the best thing about God is that, and this is what God is teaching me constantly, His plan is the best plan, y'all. It's the best plan for us. It's what's best for us. And eventually we come to terms and we realize you're right. Because the reality is, let's say I did the plan that I wanted to do for real. Let's say the plan that I had for myself came true. Here's what would really be the case. I would be in a marriage that made me unhealthy, that I was not happy in, and that would really just keep me in a mentally in just a terrible place. We're just going to keep it real. Maybe I would be pregnant. I don't know. If I was pregnant, I would be pregnant with a person who didn't love me unconditionally, did not really prioritize me, and would probably have me taking care of this baby on my own. You know, they probably would just be there. He would be there physically, but I'd probably be doing a lot of the work, if we're going to be really real here. And career wise, who knows? Who knows where I would have been? You know, babies can change a lot of things. The point is, what I thought I wanted for myself, when I really look back at it, is that really the best? No, it's not. Right now, do I even want kids? Like, honestly, the answer as of this moment right now, it's a no for me. Okay. And honestly, more and more, to the disappointment of my parents, I'm really sorry. I can't. I'm not, I'm not saying never, but as of right now, kids are just a no for me. And bringing a child into this world with a person who is not healthy for you would cause so many more problems. And so when I look at my life right now, as much as things just suck in a lot of ways, I am so grateful because it could suck even worse had I be in the driver's seat. And so I think that's the thing that I'm really trying to remind myself of in times like this, where I'm like, okay, I don't really know where to go and what you want from me, Lord. Let me just remember that what has happened thus far has been to my benefit, ultimately. And I'm just going to trust that you got me. You're going to take care of me. And I'm going to be okay. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, y'all. I'm not in a crossroads particularly because there's no real choices at this moment. I just got everything. So I've decided that I'm going to take myself a little mental break before I really dive into the job hunting and stuff. But once that begins, that's going to be like, okay, where I'm going to have to really, be open. And honestly, so far I've already experienced the possibility of even here now what I had thought would have been and what can possibly be. And I'm already not happy with it. And not saying that that's what's going to happen. I really don't know yet, but I'm already not sure where things are going to go. But I am trusting in God and I am practicing. We're not there yet, but I really, really am trying to practice complete surrender. So that's me, y'all. This is the major update. I am happy. Can I say that? I'm happy. I'm grateful. I am excited for this new chapter. I'm still nervous and anxious. A lot of these things are going to be true. And that's another thing. I'm really, really learning to accept the fact that a lot of things can be true at the same time. And so while I feel all these things, I also do feel, a little bit afraid, but I'm trying to place that fear in something healthy, and continue to be authentic with myself and with you guys, and I hope that y'all can do the same, whether you're in a place of transition like I am, or you're in the middle of trying to figure out a major decision that you need to make, whatever it is. I really, really hope that this can be helpful for you guys. So that's me, y'all. Here it is. So that is it for this episode. Thank you guys for continuing this journey with me on season 2. You guys, I have a lot of amazing things planned, and I really, really just hope that y'all continue to ride with me and, we continue to grow and just become who God wants us to be. Follow me on all of the socials, okay? Instagram at I am not okay pod. Twitter. I keep saying this. I need to stop. I need to be on Twitter. Maybe I don't have followers on Twitter because I'm just not active on there. But I am on Twitter, y'all, at I am not okay pod. Facebook, you guys, I am not okay with day podcast page. And I have a private group. I am not okay with day podcast private group. It's also actually linked to the page, y'all. So, I really do want to build a community. Right now, we're not active, but the hope is to build a community there because I want to create a space where everybody can feel comfortable sharing, talking, helping each other out if we need to, whatever it is. So that's there. And thank you for being along the ride, and we're going to keep on riding together. So until next week, bye.